Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to say thank you to all of you who've tuned in to all these videos. I just got a notification last night that I already have over 1,000 views on the channel. Wasn't expecting that. That's pretty cool. If you want to interact or comment on anything, you can also head over to 49erswebzone.com. In the forum section, there's a thread for these videos where I link that, and we can talk about them too. But here I wanted to continue the series, How We Beat the Seahawks. This one I'm going to go to overtime. If you remember, this game went into overtime. And one thing I liked that Shanahan did here is he really took a lot of weight off his young quarterback. Mullins was playing a pretty good game, but if you remember the first time we played the Seahawks, he threw 3 interceptions. He did not have a very good game. And so Shanahan is seeing that we're in a high pressure situation, and he's going to help his quarterback out here. He actually only called one passing play in overtime, and it ended up being a defensive pass interference penalty on the play, so it really didn't even count. He ended up just running the ball a bunch and got it down into field goal range, and we let Robbie Gould do his thing. But I wanted to talk about how he did this in overtime, that it wasn't just running the same run over and over again, that he threw a lot of things at the Seahawks. And this is also a good example of Shanahan in the run game, that he's not a guy that you can just do one thing on defense to try and stop his run game and it's shut down. Like we saw with New England against the Rams, they went into very wide, like a 6-2 or even a 6-1 look. Were able to have safeties deep and just set the edges really hard, and LA wasn't able to run the ball anymore. Here, we do a lot of things differently than they do. And so this is the very first run of overtime, and I'm going to talk about this. This is actually a counter zone run. So what we're going to do here is, we've all seen this where we have all these linemen take a step over. They're scoop blocking. Like, we'll have the guard is supposed to come out here and try and scoop block. This guy's in almost a 5 technique. He's inside shade of the tackle. That's a tough block, and so you can see Seattle is they're trying to set this up. They got Barkevius Mingo out here and really wide. He's trying to set the edge really wide for this outside zone. And this is also why the fullback is so important, so helpful and important in this zone running scheme, because we're able to do things with him that like LA can't do when they're in 11 personnel, which is 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 wide receivers. Here we're in a 21 personnel, so we have Juszczyk on the field, Breda, and our tight end George Kittle. So we have 2 running backs, 1 tight end. And so we're going to make this look like an outside stretch to this side, and we're going to end up coming back with a counter. Now we also bring Pettis across the field on a motion, and that's the idea is that we're going to make this guy go out. We want the edge defender to stem out and help set up this. And we're also looking to try and get Frank Clark to move a little outside as well, because we're going to bring Juszczyk back, and he's gonna block the end man on the line of scrimmage. A lot of times they call it the M loss. And then what George Kittle's going to do is he's going to almost fake like it's a run, and then he's going to try and come back in and block this linebacker. So he's going to take a jab step out and come back in. And so this is all set up to get Breda to have a run where he's going to move a little bit to his right and then jab step over. This is all to get the defense flowing one direction and then end up getting good angles. One for George Kittle on the linebacker. We're trying to get him to flow so he can then come and he has a good angle on him. And we're trying to get this defender to step out to give Juszczyk a good angle. And then Bobby Wagner to take himself out of the play. And then you have Pettis to draw this guy all the way over. So the idea is then that you get Breda running up this hole in the defense. So let's see how this looks. Pettis across. You can see the defense is slanted to that side. Their interior guys have all slanted to that side. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get these guys moving that direction so that we can come back and hit him on the other side. You see Kittle stepped out, and now he's looking for Calitro. Juszczyk comes across. Frank Clark actually does a pretty good job here. He understands what they're trying to do. He understands that Juszczyk is trying to kick him out, and we're trying to come up this way. We're trying to get him down and him out to get a lane right in here. And so he actually does a decent job of filling that hole. And Kittle gets away with a block in the back. But you can see the lane that this is opened up now. We're counting on Breda's speed. And again, this is why a guy like Breda is valuable. We're trying to get his speed up into this hole. He tries to make a move on the guy and just slips down. If not, he might be taking that a pretty good distance. So this is one way that we have a variation on what we normally do to get the defense to overcompensate. So you see here, we bring a ball back around and Brady just slips down. So hopefully this won't make this video too long, but I want to go to the very next play and show what we do here. Here we come out with 22 personnel. We have Juszczyk, Breda in the game. We have Garrett Selleck over here and George Kittle right here and Dante Pettis right here. So I'm going to go to a still here and talk about this one a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring Pettis around again, and this is the same idea. We're trying to get this guy to go out. And then we're actually going to come back with a counter. We've actually seen this play before. I showed it in the Detroit game where Breda broke for, it was like 20 some yards. It's just a counter. It's just a counter play. Sorry, I won't get too much into it because that's really just what it is. It's a power man. So this is the difference here in power man and zone. The other one you saw all the linemen taking a step over and they're blocking the first person in their area. But here they have absolute assignments. So here the guard is going to block down on the one technique. Our center is going to come over here onto this 3 tech, and Staley is going to try and block here. He's going to try and get to the linebacker afterwards. That's what he's supposed to do. But this guy does a good job of holding everybody up. And then we're going to pull Laken Tomlinson around and have him come up into the hole. And he's going to block the first person that appears. And we have McGlinchey, sorry, I spaced out there for a second. McGlinchey and Selleck are going to down block on this guy. And they do a really good job here. They completely maul him out of the hole. Sorry, I realized I drew this wrong. Laken Tomlinson's going to go over here. He's going to kick out the end man. So we're bringing this Pettis across, hoping to get Barkevius Mingo to stem out a little bit. And then that gives Laken Tomlinson a good angle to kick him out. And then we're going to bring Juszczyk around as well up into this hole, and he's going to pick up safety or linebacker, whoever appears first. And then we're going to bring, what Brady's going to do is he's going to jab step and then come across into the hole. So he's going to jab step, get these guys moving that direction a little bit, and then come across down. I know it's a lot of jumbleness up in here, but the idea with this is that you're going to get down blocks, power blocks. So this gives the advantage of man is that you get angles. When you're trying to just take a guy straight on, that's Oklahoma drill stuff. I mean, that's just 2 guys banging heads and strongest man wins. But when you can give a guard a good angle on this guy where this guy's not in a position of power, he can move him out of the way, and then you get double teams on somebody, move him out of the way. You're trying to give guys good angles on guys to get them out of the hole. That's why one reason it's called power is you're also bringing more people on that side of the line than the defense can account for. Because, again, you have a fullback that's on this side of the formation. So this is the strong side over here. You have a tight end and the fullback. And we're able to go to the weak side where they're going to have one less defender and end up bringing more guys in to account for the defense. And so let's watch how this happens. See Pettis come across. Now Mingo doesn't even respect this. I think he's probably seen this play before on film, but in the end it doesn't help. But if you watch, let's go back just a hair. Watch these 2 guys right here. They maul this guy out of the hole. I mean, they've moved him a good 3-4 yards out of the hole, and then you have Tomlinson coming around. That's something nobody wants to see. Seattle does actually. I mean, you can see how they they attack this run. They got 3 guys over in the hole, but they don't keep gap integrity. And again, this is also why it's good to have a fullback now, is that they've brought defenders over, but we bring a guy across the formation, and Juszczyk is a good blocker. I mean, he's an athletic guy that can really make things happen in the run game, and he comes around and picks up Bobby Wagner, and Breda just slips through the hole. It's not a game breaking run, but on 2nd and 6, it's a 7-yard run that gets us a first down. And you can see how we've accounted for everybody on the defense. The only thing that stops this play from breaking is this defender. He does a good job of spinning out of person's block and is able to get there. I mean, other than that, we've got an even bigger run if Breda could not get grabbed and break to the outside or squeeze through this hole. We get pretty close to breaking this run for a pretty good gain. But even then, it's a solid 7-yard gain. But it's something else now that the defense has to account for. They've seen the stretch zone, they've seen a counter to the stretch zone, and now they're seeing a counter on man to bring more guys around. Because now this is a lot for a defense to digest, because one thing you do to counter the zones is you can slam your defensive line different directions, and you can set hard edges. Well, now we're expecting this guy to set a hard edge, and you're kicking him out. So you're able to run inside that edge and bring more blockers up in that edge. It's a lot of variation in the run game that Shanahan uses to great effect, and it worked really well against the Seahawks.